Hello there. Have you ever tried to build a sidebar navigation? Even a simple one, let alone the ones that requires multiple levels of navigation. Today I'm excited to announce the release of my first premium product, a multi-level sidebar slide navigation template for Oxygen Builder. This is a web page with a site navigation. What this template allows you to do is to build a multi-level slide navigation, unlimited levels. So right here we have the top level links, and then we have reviews and TV series, which are the slide links. So I'm going to click on the review, and then it's going to bring us here to the next slide where you have a link with a picture inside it, and then you have other slide links. Then you have a button here that goes back to home because this is the home slide. So I'm going to go into that reviews again, and then I'm going to go into Marvel. You see that is the second level. So that only has two levels. So you have from reviews, the first level, Marvel, second level. Let's go back to reviews. And then from DC, we go into the second level. And when we click DC special, we go into the third level. And then we have another level, the red carpet. I'm going to click there. It goes into the fourth level. Now, this allows you to keep going on and on if you want to. I mean, it's usually not recommended to have multiple levels of navigation for user experience, but that doesn't mean you should not have the option to if you need to. So what this navigation does for you is gives you that ability. If you take a look here, you have this back button, and you can see that it has back to DC special because this level is called DC special. It automatically gets the name and displays it here. So you don't have to manually write it. Of course, you have the option to turn off that feature and write what you want to write manually. So this lists back to DC, and this lists back to reviews, and this lists back to home. So what if you go to reviews, go to DC, go to DC special, go to red carpet, and you want to go all the way back to home? You can just click that home button, and then it takes you all the way back to home. I have TV series, DC series. You have different items here. Now I want to show you that you can drop anything that you want to drop inside this navigation. For example, if you go to reviews, DC, spatial, red carpet, we have here a gallery that is fully functional. You have no limitation on what you can put inside this navigation. You can put in a query loop, you can put in repeaters, you can list your posts, you can say post, and then you list the post in repeaters. You can put anything inside here. You can put tabs inside the navigation. So there is no limit to what you can put inside the navigation. And then here you have the footer of the navigation. You have your call to action button. Now, I want to mention that this is fully customizable. Everything here can be changed. You can take away the icons if you don't want. You can take away these chevron icons if you don't want. You can disable you can remove the footer if you don't want. You can remove the social icons if you don't want. So it is very, very customizable. And I also want to mention that this navigation is fully keyboard accessible. I'm going to refresh this, and then let's take a look at it. Now I'm going to hit tab, and you can see skip to main. If you've been using Oxygen for some time, you will know that Oxygen doesn't have a built-in skip to main. It doesn't have skip links, but this navigation has built-in skip links. So you have skip to main, and then you have skip to footer. And then when I click the tab button again, it selects the logo, and then it selects the first link, the next selects the second link. Then I'm going to go to the slide button and hit enter, and it's going to go there, select, enter. So it is fully keyboard accessible. You see, you have that home button there, you have the back button, you select home, back. You want to go back to home, you go back to the home, and then you can come down here to the footer of the header, and then you can come to the sign up button. So it is fully accessible. Everything works as you would expect. Of course, if you're in here and you want to go back to the home page, you can hit the escape button, and then it's going to take you back to the page. I also want to mention that this is completely screen reader accessible. Let's say I turn on my screen reader.
Skip to main content. Skip to footer. Header navigation. Navigation list with 4 items. Services. Link reviews. Button collapsed list item. Reviews menu. Go back to home menu. List with 3 items list item. Toy Story. Marvel. Button collapsed list item. Marvel menu. Go to home menu. Go back to reviews menu. Reviews menu. Go back to home menu.
So this is something I've been working on for some weeks now, and it is going to keep getting better and better. As I mentioned, this is a premium template. It is for sale. So one other thing I want to show you is that this template is mobile responsive. So I'm going to hit F12 to bring out this mobile form. Okay, so we look at the phone, no matter the size. I'm going to go to the smallest size of the phone, and you can see that everything works as it's supposed to work, right? Just as you would expect. No issues at all. The scrolling is good. If the items are too much, it's going to scroll. You see, let's go back to the home. If we have a lot of items, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to pretend as if we had more content by duplicating this, and you can see that it's just beautiful. It scrolls, so it's really good. I'm going to duplicate it one more time so we have much of it. So it is very, very responsive, and it works just as it should. So even if you have a lot of content there, it's really well built. So take a look at the description. You're going to see the link to purchase the template. I'm going to go into Oxygen, and I'm going to start with a fresh installation to show you how this works. I'll show you the customization option that is available and all the things you can do with the template. So I'm going to go into a blank install of Oxygen. The first thing I want to do is to add a new template. I want a new catch-all template. I'm just going to write the main. I'm going to go to Other and click Catch-all, and then I'm going to publish it. Now, once I publish it, I want you to take note of something. What I want you to take note is this post ID, because we're going to use this post ID to set it up. We will need the post ID of the main template to be able to set this up in a way that will not interfere with us when we're working on other pages. So that is post ID 9. I'm just going to click that. Now, one of the things that is really challenging when working with sidebar navigation, especially with things that have multiple levels like this, is being able to set it up in a way that it does not interrupt your workflow when you are on other pages. You don't want the header to be getting in the way. I've seen a lot of those challenges where you build a full screen header or you build a sidebar navigation, but when you go into other pages to work, that builder keeps getting in the way. Now, this is done in such a way that you have zero inconvenience when working in other pages. So when you buy this, you're going to get two main files. Actually, you're going to get more than two files, but you're going to get two main files. The first one will be the main template, which comes with the basic structure that you need to build your sidebar navigation. And then the second one will be the demo template, which will give you exactly what you see here. Once you bring that in, you're going to see exactly what you have here. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I will bring in this one so you can see exactly how it's going to appear. So inside here, I'm going to take the JSON file. I'm going to copy the content of the JSON file. So I have my JSON file here. This is the Oxygen navigation demo, the demo template. All I want to do is to copy this. Now, when you get your file after purchasing this, all you need to do is to drag your JSON file to the browser, and it's going to open it up just like this. And then you're going to copy it. Then once you copy it, you're going to go to Oxygen and then go to import and paste it. Now inside your main template, and it's going to import the template. The template includes the inner content. It includes a header and a footer. That is a complete setup. Now, right now you see that we have pasted this, but we only see our sample page preview. So what you're seeing here is not part of the template. It's just my sample page that is previewing through the inner content. Now, the reason you can't see it is remember I told you we want to change something. We have to change the post ID. Okay, so I'm going to go into the navigation code to the CSS. I'm just going to click anywhere and press Ctrl F and write post. And then it's going to show me where I have the post ID. It's only 2 instances in the code. So I'm going to just put there 9 because the post ID that we saw for our main template was 9. I'm going to put here 9 also. If for any reason you forgot to check it before coming in here, you can always hit F12, and that is going to open the inspector panel where you can see your post ID right here. This post ID refers to the ID of the main template. Okay, so once we're done with that, everything comes in and it's ready to go. So if I save this and then I'm going to preview on the front end, you're going to see that of course nothing happens. We can't see it. Why? Because this sample page has not been set to inherit any template. So I'm going to go back to that sample page and then I'm going to set it to inherit to use the main template. I'm going to update that and then I'm going to go to the front end. I'm going to refresh that, and then we're going to see that a sidebar shows up and everything works exactly as it did on the demo that I showed you. Nothing is broken, just as it is. So this first template is the demo. That means if you want to start with the demo that I have and just replace things, you can start with this. Now, the first one thing you'll notice that if I refresh this page, you're going to see flash of unstyled content. That is not nice. So what you do is when you get this, you want to copy out the CSS, cut it out completely from the code block, because the code block is not a good place to put CSS. And you want to come here and you want to add a style sheet. I'm just going to call this nav, and then I'm going to create that style sheet and paste that CSS there. And once I paste that CSS there and save it, you're going to see that when I refresh this page, we're not going to have that flash. You see, that flash of unstyled content is no longer there. It just reloads normally, and you see that the page is working properly as it's supposed to. Okay, so that's all for the demo. Now I'm going to show you the basic structure, the most basic structure of how this works. So I'm going to delete all actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to the initial state, meaning nothing happened. I've not created my style sheet yet. Yep. And what I want to do is to open my another JSON file, the one that contains the basic structure of the side panel. So in case for those people that want to start from the scratch, you don't want to start undoing what I already did in the demo. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the JSON from the basic template, the template that contains the basic building blocks that you need. So I'm going to put it here and I will paste that. And of course, I'm going to follow the same step. Okay. So I already know that the post ID of this template is 9. So I'm just going to go there, come here, Control F, and just type post, and then I'm just going to replace that by 9 and replace this by 9. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out, take it to the style sheet, call it nav, and then just drop it in there, collapse this. So now what this does is that it brings in just the basic structure. You can see that not much styling is here, and right here you can see that this is the basic skeletal structure of this navigation. So let's see the structure. So the structure panel has the site wrapper, which wraps everything, and then inside there you have the skip to main, you have the skip to the footer. Then after that you have the header tag, which is the main header of the page, and then you have the main, which is where you have your inner content, and then you have the footer. Now where we're going to be working on primarily will be the header, because that is what the sidebar, that is where the sidebar navigation lives, is inside the header. I'm going to open the header. So inside the header you have the header inner wrap that takes care of the header on the nav. Okay, that is the header section of the nav. Inside the header section you have the logo wrapper, and then you have the mobile menu trigger, and then let me close that header. After that you have the panels. Now the panel is where you have the main navigation. That's why it's a nav tag, it's a navigation tag, and then you have the mobile overlay right under it. That mobile overlay, when you go to the mobile menu, you have that, you know, it dims out. Like, see, that one is white. Okay, you can change the color of it if you want. So this one is white. It just makes it. Let's check something bigger, like here. You can see. So you can change the color of it. Everything is customizable. All right. So within that panel, that is where you have all your panels, you know, the sections, the slides. Okay. Now there are two major types of panels. The home page is a unique panel that always have to be there. That means even if you don't want to have a slide, that means you'll have a home page. It is different, and you cannot use the home panel slides for the slides. Okay. You can use the slide panel. You see, these are the second one here is the slide panel. This can be duplicated for any number of slides you want, but you can duplicate the home for the slides, and they all have specific classes attached to them. Now, this is not like the main instruction video, but this is just an overview. So now I have the home. Inside there, I have my inner wrap. The inner wrap contains all the contents of that panel, and I have the footer that contains the social icons and the sign up, the CTA buttons. Now in that inner wrap, I have a list which is contains two types of list items. The first type of list item in this template, now these are the basic building blocks. The first type of link item is just a regular link, so you have li link. The second type of list item is the li list that contains a button, and then you have this button is a slide button. So this button is responsible for sliding to the next page. So if you want to link to another panel, you're going to be using this slide button. Take note that we have other kinds of button, like the back button, you know, we have the home button, but the slide button specifically is to use for sliding to linking to another page. So I'm going to collapse the home, and then we look at the slide. So this is the slide panel, okay? If you open it, the slide panel has a panel header that contains the back to home button, that is the back to the general home button and back to the previous slide. Now this back here is back to the previous slide. So because it is linking back to the home panel, it's called, you can see the label there, back to home. These labels are builder only labels that shows you where each button is linking. For example, this button says controls slide panel. Now if you take a look, that these panels all have labels. This is the home panel and this is the slide panels. You can select a panel by clicking on its label. The reason that is good is it sometimes can be difficult to select the label because you'll be clicking other things here. So you can just click here to select the label. So if I want to select the slide, I can click on the label to select the slide. These panels are named according to their title attribute. So everything is driven by title attribute. So to set this up is very simple. Let's say I want to create a new panel and I want to create a new button that links to that panel. I'm going to go to the slide and then I'm just going to hit Ctrl D to duplicate that. So that is going to be my next slide. Of course, I want to call it, just say slide 2. Okay. I want to call it slide 2. And I'm going to go to the title attribute, and then you want to change the name to the name of whatever you want to call it. So you can see this is still called slide panel, but if I write slide 2 and apply attribute, it's going to change to slide 2. I'm just going to copy that title attribute. Now I want to create a button here that leads to slide 2. So I'm going to come to this button. You must select the LI element, and then I'm going to duplicate it. Remember that this button contains the slide button, so I want to use it also. So this slide button will lead to slide 2. So I'm just going to call this text slide 2. I'm just naming it to know slide 2 button. Now, where is this going to lead to? Now you can see now this currently says control slide panel, but we need it to control the slide 2 panel. So with that button, the main button element, not the LI this time, the main button element selected, I'm going to go to advanced attribute and paste slide 2 there. And then I'm going to apply, and then you can see now that it says controls slide 2 panel. So it's very easy for you to know which one it controls. I don't know if I had saved this before. Let's replicate. Yeah, I already saved it. You can see right now we have just one button leading to this single slide. Now that we have added a new button and link it to the second slide, which is the slide 2, that's all we need to do. Duplicate a slide, change the title attribute, duplicate the button, change the title attribute to the slide that you want it to control, and then just save. And then once we do that, we're going to have 2 slide buttons. I'm going to refresh that. We have 2 slide buttons. This one leads to this panel. I'm going to go back, and then this one leads to, now we may not see the difference because the contents are the same. So I'm just going to call it panel 2. And then the image here, and perhaps I'll just leave that. Let's just call it panel 2. The image is still the same. We'll use a title to know. So I'm just going to refresh that again. So this leads to the panel title, and then this leads to panel 2, just by adding a button and adding attributes. Now you can use that method to create as many levels of navigation, any level. It is unlimited. You can do that. How about the back to home? Now because this came from home, is going back to home, this came from home, is going back to home. Okay, let's assume that this button was not here, that this button, I'm going to copy it, Ctrl C, okay, and then I'm going to delete that button. Let's say that button was not there, that button was in the second slide. Okay, so after the link, let's collapse all this. So the second slide, this is it, this panel, right? So I'm going to collapse these other ones. So this slide, I want to put the button. So I'm going to select the link and paste that button that I copied. So I have a button there, you can see. So this slide 2 button is now here. So it's now in the second slide. So I'm going to save it. And right now, if you go there, we have the first slide, and then this one will link it. You don't have to do anything. You just copy and paste. It just links. But now it's saying back to home. But the problem, so the slide is coming from this one. Okay. So it's supposed to go back there, but it's going back to home, and that is not supposed to happen. So the back button on that slide 2 panel should have the attribute of this one that is supposed to go back to. So we're going to take that is just called slide. Okay, this panel is called slide, and this back to home should go back to that panel. Okay, let's paste that. So it's now going back to slide. You see, back to slide. It's no longer back to home. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to refresh this. And when we click here, this comes here. When we click here, you can see back to slide, and this goes back to home. Now, in future releases, there will be updates where the back button will automatically detect where it should go back to. But for now, you have to add that title attribute to where you want it to go back to. There will be future update. I cannot promise when that is going to come. As at the time of this recording, this is how it works. Now, I want you to notice one thing, that this back to home, back to slide is automatic. You can see, because what we have here is just back. You know, we have back here, we have the word back. So but then when we go to the front end, you're seeing back to slide. That is automatic. Like I said, you can turn that off in the settings. And if you want to turn that off, all you need to do is to go to the JS settings, and then you go to the JavaScript and update back button. I'm just going to change that to 0 and apply the code, and I'm going to save it. And then once we go to the front end, you see it's now saying back, so you can now write your custom text. Your custom text will show, but personally I think it is more convenient for it to automatically pick the title of the panel instead of me having to remember to write it. So I like it that way. Now let's talk about customization options. To customize this, you can change the color of this to anything. This template comes with 3 CSS themes. When you purchase it, you're going to have 3 CSS theme files. All once you go to your nav, you're going to just, the CSS theme file will have just from here to here. You can just copy and replace that, and it's going to give you a new, completely different theme. So I'm just going to demonstrate that. I'm going to go back and go to black theme demo. I'm going to copy the whole of that, and then I'm going to come here and replace the whole of the whole root declaration. And you can see that the whole thing changes to a black theme. You see, it changes to a black theme. And if I save it and go to the front end, refresh, the whole theme is now black. Okay, now I'm going to undo that so we can get back a white theme. Then I want to show you how you can customize everything easily. Let's assume that we have a color scheme that we are working with. So let's say I have a color scheme of maroon, orange, yellow, and gold. Let's say I have a color scheme like that, and the darkest color will be the color of my background. So I'm going to go to, now if you come here to this variable declaration, everything is groups. You have background colors. The first thing I want to change is my background color. The nav bg, I want it to be maroon. All right, and then the whole thing changes to maroon. So what color do I want to give this? The color of this call to action, I want it to be orange, and then when I hover on it, I want it to be a lighter form of orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for background, CTA background. I want to call it orange. I think I want it to be orange red, and then you can see now it's orange red. But when I hover on it, CTA hover, I want it to be orange. Okay, and then when I hover on it, you see it's orange. Now we want to change the background of the header. Okay, the background, maybe I want my header to still be black, okay, for contrast. So I'm going to go to header bg. I'm just going to put black there, and that will change it to black. Then my links, I have to take care of it. What do I want the colors of my link to be? I want them to be white. So I'm going to go to under colors, and then I'm going to go to panel link colors. I'm just going to put there white. Of course, you're not going to be right, you have your color codes, but this is, so we have white. The icon colors and the panel icon colors, I want it to be white also. So the icon colors are now white. Then the social, I'll go to the social colors, the icon color, I want the icon color to be gold. I said I wanted to add gold on my color scheme, but then I don't want the social, all of them to be gold. I want the icon, the social icon, to be gold. Okay, and then the social color, which is the text, I want it to be white. So right now we have that. Then the hover, when I hover on all of them, I want all of them to be that gold. So the hover colors for the social hover color, I want it to be gold. Social hover color, you see, is gold. Then the social icon hover color, okay, also I want it to be gold. So you see it's gold. Now we didn't deal with the icon. See, these are icon links are still so I want this to be gold also. I just want to change the link hover color gold, and then let's see, okay, that's the link icon hover color, and then the link hover, I also want it, I still want the link to be, let's just make that white, okay, so that it will not change, but only the icon will change. Okay, Then the panel title. So panel title color. So you see panel title color was black there. So the panel title color, I want it to be white also. So my panel title color is white. So I think everything just works perfectly. So now let's save it, and then I'm going to refresh this. Refresh that, and then we'll see what we have. So we have that. We have our outline focus color is black, and I don't want the outline focus color to be black, but every other thing looks good. Every other thing looks good. Let's see, these, all of them look good. So let's go back home. But the only thing now is that the focus outline is black. So I'm just going to go to all the way down here, focus style outline. I want to make it white, and let me just make the width to be fatter, 4 pixel, and then I want the offset to be still 2 pixel. That should be okay, just for emphasis to show you. I'm going to refresh this, and now we have a fat white icon there, and everything works the way it's supposed to work. So you can see that it is very easy to customize this. So in a matter of minutes, I've customized the whole thing. If you want to add border radius, so under borders, you can add border radius. So if I want the link border radius to be, so this control all the border radius for the links, so you can see it in the hover. For example, now this has a very slight background. Okay, you can see that it's very light. So if I want that hover to have a background, so I can go to hover background. Okay, hover background. The link hover background, I'm just going to change it to black. So now you see, if I hover on it, you can see it is black, but I can also change the one for the social icons. The social icons hover color, I also want it to be black. Okay, so you can see now if I go ahead to change the borders to, let's say, maybe 10 pixel, you can see that we have those borders there, and let's make it 20 pixel to really emphasize it. You can see, and if I save that and go to the front end, everything changes, and we have that everywhere. You can see that. All right, so there's a lot of options here. You can change the overlay background. Right now, if you go to responsive, the overlay background is black with a little bit of opacity. You can change that. So if I want the opacity to be, want it to be like 8, you can change. You want this to be maybe like red, just for emphasis. I just want to show you for emphasis. I'm going to change that depending on how you want it to be. I'm going to refresh that, and you see it's red with that. So, but then of course, who wants that type of color there? Okay, so you can change literally anything you want to change. So everything is customizable, and the more people use it, the more the request for customization options, the more features is going to be available. So that is all I'm going to show you for now. I'm really excited about this. So one more thing I want to point out is that the semantic structure of the page, you have accurate semantic structure. Inside the site wrapper, which is a custom tag, we have the header, we have the main, and we have the footer. If you go to the accessibility tree, you can see that the accessibility tree recognizes this landmark as banner, main, and content info. So you may wonder, why do we have all of them inside another wrapper? Yeah, it is perfectly fine, because content, the div or a custom tag like this doesn't have any semantic relevance, so it's usually ignored. As you can see, it says generic. It doesn't take it as anything, so it still recognizes the header as a landmark. Let me demonstrate something to you. So if we were to carry a footer and drop it inside a main, let me drop this footer here. So I drop the footer inside a main. Now, if you go to the accessibility tree, you can see that it sees a footer as non-landmark, which means that what we did earlier was accurate. It recognizes it as the content info. Because now the footer is now inside a main, it doesn't recognize it as a landmark, footer as non-landmark. So I'm just going to undo that. See, it's now content info. So these are the 3 major landmarks that a website should have: the banner, which is the header, the main, and the content info, which is the footer, and they have to be recognized in that order. So everything is semantically accurate. So we have this as the proper UL-LI structure inside a navigation. We have another navigation here in the header, because we're going to have, just in case you want to have links and button, feel free to change that navigation tag if you think that it's not going to be a navigation in the header, like right here. Okay, so if you don't want that to be a nav, you can just change it to a regular div. But because it has two links inside it, I just want it to be like at the top navigation of the page, because this is outside. The reason I did that is because that top panel is outside this main navigation. That's why I made it a navigation too. So check the link in the description, get a copy for yourself, use it, and let me know what you think. And also let me know in the section below if you've ever needed a template like this, a solution like this for any project you've worked on, and how is this going to help you solve problems in ongoing projects. So I'm looking forward to get your feedback. Of course, like I said, this is not the main instruction video. When you buy, you're going to get step-by-step detailed instruction video in your dashboard. So I'm excited to hear from you. I'm excited to get feedbacks from those of you that are going to be using it. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.